show with an exclusive story, a massive brawl in which Bradley Tech students viciously assault an elderly man. There appears to be a racial component to it. I am Dan. If you would like to join us at any point this show, the adventknows.com talk and text line 414-799-1130, 1-800-838-9476. Email me, dod@iheartmedia.com, at Dan O'Donnell Show on X, where you can watch the show streaming live, as well as on Facebook, facebook.com/Dan O'Donnell Show, and on our YouTube channel. Just search for Dan O'Donnell or Dan O'Donnell Show. The scene yesterday afternoon, just outside Bradley Tech High School. Dozens of teenagers, all of whom were black, appear on camera in a video filmed and then posted to, I believe, TikTok, shows several of those students in the mob assaulting an elderly white man who appears to be in his 60s or 70s. You can see the video. It runs about 30 seconds, and the sound cuts off after about 15 seconds. But you can see several Bradley Tech students viciously assaulting the man, punching him in the face, stomping his head into a sewer grate before the video cuts off. You can then see still photos of the aftermath, which were posted to Facebook, showing the man with a bloodied face. And when I say bloodied face, I mean his face is entirely red. It is unclear the severity of this man's injuries. He has not yet been identified. What I can report via multiple sources is that two students, two males, both African American, both students at Bradley Tech High School, are under arrest in connection with this beating. Police have apparently been using this video as their evidence in connection with this assault. A third student, who can be seen on the video and apparently was identified, is still on the loose. I am continuing to follow up on this story. I have no idea what precipitated the attack, but this did not appear to be one of the students getting into a fight with this man. This happened right after school let out in an alleyway near Bradley Tech, right by a McDonald's restaurant. Is the elderly man a patron of McDonald's? I don't know. What I do know, however, is that this story has not yet been covered in local media except by me. I say there is a racial component to it because you cannot ignore the obvious. Every single student and every single young person who I will presume to be Bradley Tech students, because of the proximity to the school and the time of day, it was right after the kids were let out of school. I'm going to presume that everybody in the video, and there were about 20 to 30, most of whom were filming the incident, watching, and yes, shrieking. I'm not exactly sure why. In every single one of these videos that you'll see online, the young people have to shriek. It's not like they're yelling. Remember about 10, 15 years ago, they used to yell, "World Star." World Star, because the videos would get posted on World Star Hip Hop, and in order to ensure that they were, someone who is filming would invariably be yelling World Star. Well, it seems we've devolved as a society where our brawls no longer even feature coherent words, but rather just shrieks. 15 to 20 students all gathering around, pretty much everyone who is not involved in the active beating of this elderly man who has white hair. Beyond that, I couldn't get too good of a look at him because, again, his face was totally red with blood. What I can report, though, is that this appeared to be a targeted assault. This appeared to be kids, and not just one, but a bunch of them just sort of jumping on this guy. Now, did they do so because of the color of his skin? I have absolutely no evidence of that. Again, I am trying to piece this together. The Milwaukee Police Department has not yet commented on this, but what I can say is the obvious thing that I think does need to be said. These pictures and this video were the races reversed, and a group of white teenagers was viciously assaulting a black elderly man, this would be an international incident. The fact that now that the races are reversed, you have an elderly white victim and what appear to be 7 or 8 black perpetrators who are actively punching and kicking him, there apparently is silence. Milwaukee Police Department, as I said, has not yet released any information on this. I posted the video on X and on Facebook last night after my sources pointed me to where I could find it on TikTok. And it got picked up by the Libs of TikTok site, which also speaks volumes about where we are in a media climate. Libs of TikTok is an account. It's a massive account. Very good friend of the show. We both follow each other. It's run by a woman named Chaya Rychik, who was at one point a real estate agent in New York and since resigned that position to work on Libs of TikTok full time. I believe she's being paid by Seth Dillon, who's the founder and runs the Babylon Bee. Nonetheless, what she will do is not just air, and she got very big. The account got very big and ubiquitous in conservative circles for posting simply libs going crazy on TikTok and just revealing who they were, saying nuts things. In fact, for a while, we actually had a segment devoted to just highlighting some of the videos that Kaya would find and post. So she retweeted this. It, of course, immediately gets a couple of thousand retweets. And I will grant you that I posted this, I can't even remember what time, 7:30, 8 o'clock at night, possibly even later. There wasn't enough time for last night, the local Milwaukee TV stations, to get this on the 10 o'clock news. There just wasn't enough time. And admittedly, it wasn't a big enough story, I don't think, to switch a reporter from a previously assigned story to get on this one. But again, I will ask, if this was a group of, say, Marquette High School students, and I'm totally an example. The reality is, could you imagine any Marquette University high school students doing this? Absolutely not. Of course not. Right? But let's just say I'm picking a school that is in a predominantly black neighborhood. And let's say these Marquette kids get out of school. They're all walking to McDonald's to hang out after school, and there's an elderly black guy, and they all just assault him. Do you not think for a second Kamala Harris would have already weighed in on this, for goodness sakes? So we'll see if the local news believes that this is a story, especially coming on the heels of a very good report that today's TMJ4 did yesterday on the absolute madness of the Green Tree School brawl on Friday afternoon. Because this occurred on Friday afternoon, not a lot of people heard about it. It was sort of lost in the weekend shuffle. Admittedly, I did not cover it right, producer Dave. There was a Packers game in Brazil later that night, so it kind of got lost in the shuffle. But today's TMJ4 did a wonderful job highlighting just how chaotic it was. And I want to play this report in its entirety. There were anonymous parents, employees, and even students cited. Take a listen to just how chaotic everything seemed.
It looks like a free-for-all.
This is the environment I've been working in for the past month.
Video shows students with their clothes off, some even running out of the school.
It was a lot. I've never seen anything like that. There was students that was going up to the second floor. They were climbing out of the window, standing on top of the balcony.
That's a Green Tree Prep parent who didn't want to show her face on camera. She showed up to the school Friday after a student called her saying kids were fighting.
I didn't expect to walk into the school and there was actually like multiple fights taking place.
Secretary Amaya Hambright says what she witnessed Friday was so troubling, she walked off the job.
A middle schooler was jumped and mauled by at least 7 kids. He was in a corner like this on his back with his shirt over his head getting jumped on.
You saw that?
Yes, ma'am, with my own eyes. About 10 fights broke out. It's going on for about 5 or 6 minutes now, just continuous fights. And it started to get so chaotic that the teachers and the safety lost control of the situation.
Amaya says at that point, she felt so unsafe, she called 911, despite other staff members, she says, telling her not to. On Friday, Milwaukee police said they responded to a large fight at the school and arrested several students.
Do you feel like your kids are safe at Green Tree Prep?
No, I don't feel like anyone's kids are safe there.
A letter sent to parents Sunday night said the incident that happened Friday was unacceptable. It also says horseplay, under any circumstances, will not be tolerated.
The school tried to water it down and say horseplay. This wasn't horseplay. This was kids being grabbed by their hair, being punched, being kicked, innocent kids being trampled.
In Milwaukee, Jenna Ray, TMJ4 News.
Jenna Ray, bravo. That was excellent reporting. Horseplay, MPS, horseplay. There was another, what we call in the news business, dazzling detail, which I have been reporting on for the better part of a decade. MPS employees, and I suspect other school district employees in similarly situated urban school districts, are being told their employees are being told not to call 911. We'll just handle this internally. Don't call 911. Don't get the police involved. Let's just handle this internally. Clearly, there has been an effort to downplay what is going on in MPS schools. Do you know what is not going on in MPS schools, but is required by law? Resource officers from the Milwaukee Police Department patrolling the hallways. Kudos to State Senator John Jagler, great friend of the show and a personal friend of mine, thanks to our time working together at WTMJ Radio. Broke this story. I feel terrible that I wasn't the one whose show he could break it on, because I was still in Europe, quite frankly, and jet lagged like all get out when he finally got the story out to the media. The Milwaukee Public Schools has been breaking state law by refusing to reinstate school resource officers. And already within the first week and a half of the school year, you are starting to see the consequences. We will have more on that when we come back here on the Dan O'Donnell Show.
Keep in touch with Dan on Twitter at Dan O'Donnell Show. More of the show is next.
Dan O'Donnell here, cordially inviting you on the adventure of a lifetime with Cruise and Tour, sailing Norway's breathtaking fjords aboard the magnificent Celebrity Eclipse, June 13th through the 23rd. The soaring mountainous landscapes, the crystal blue waters, the jaw-dropping glaciers, and the charm of old world Europe, all on one magical trip. We'll spend 2 days in Amsterdam, taking in the beauty of one of the most famous cities in the world, and then we'll board our ship, a state-of-the-art vessel with world-class amenities and entertainment. We'll cruise the fjords, which are almost indescribably beautiful. The mountain vistas rise above amazing ports of call like Molde, known as the Town of Roses, and Olden, a 17th century village at the basin of cascading waterfalls. For more information and to make your reservation, call 800-383-3131 or head to cruise-tour.com.
EasyHomeBidder.com's Bob Tarantino here. Babe Ruth's pointing home run game jersey sold in 2005 for $940,000, then again in 22 for $12.6 million, and just recently for $24 million at auction. The only way to know the maximum someone is willing to pay for your home today is an EasyHomeBidder.com agent listing it on MLS and EasyHomeBidder.com. Want to finally be the high bidder? That's EasyHomeBidder.com. Real estate for winners. EasyHomeBidder.com. That's EasyHomeBidder.com.
If you're someone who is experiencing spine, shoulder, hip, knee, or musculoskeletal pain and a total joint replacement might be in your future, think Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. Find them at orthowisconsin.com. At Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin, their physicians are committed to providing the highest quality of joint care and specialize in same-day total joint replacements at their own ambulatory surgery center in Pewaukee. You can find them at orthowisconsin.com. Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. There is a difference.
Jerry Paget, the second enlisted in the U.S. Navy and deployed multiple times to Iraq and Afghanistan until Jerry was catastrophically injured in an improvised explosive device blast. Now, Jerry received a new smart home thanks to our friends at the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. Now, the home is in the foundation's Let Us Do Good Village. It's in Florida, and Jerry now lives more independently thanks to the specially adaptive technologies. Commit to $11 a month, the letter T, the number 2, the letter T.org.
I opened a gold IRA with Noble Gold Investments. There's no better vote for your financial safety than precious metals. So Noble Gold Investments is giving away up to 10 1-ounce silver Trump coins or a 10-ounce silver American flag bar with a qualifying account this month. Just use promo code TRUMP. That's NobleGoldInvestments.com. Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals, including gold, involves risks. Consult with your tax attorney or financial professional before making an investment decision.
Classical conservatism, contemporary style. It is the Dan O'Donnell Show. Yesterday afternoon, just outside of Bradley Tech High School, a vicious mob beating involving dozens of Bradley Tech students, several caught on video, assaulting an elderly man whose face was so bloodied it was completely red. You can see the video on my X account at Dan O'Donnell Show or Facebook.com/Dan O'Donnell Show. I do this not to appeal to the prurient interest or to just glorify violence, but rather to show that it is sort of remarkable that you have an apparently racially based beating, potentially racially motivated beating of an entire group of black teenagers viciously assaulting a white man. And this has received no attention outside of this show or after it was picked up the libs of TikTok. But I can report via multiple law enforcement sources, 2 of those Bradley Tech students are under arrest, and I believe there is still a search going on for a 3rd suspect who fled the scene before officers could arrive. Now, this comes on the heels of the Green Tree School mass brawls that involved dozens and dozens and dozens of students on Friday. Now, you might be thinking, where were the police in all this? Certainly not inside the school. In 2020, as part of the Defund the Police movement, MPS, Milwaukee Public Schools, cut its contract for resource officers with the Milwaukee Police Department. Now, you might remember hearing something about police officers being required to be hired back as part of Act 12, the shared revenue bill signed into law last year. In fact, Milwaukee Public Schools was required to hire 25 school resource officers. Those are police officers who are assigned to some of the most violent, troubled schools. One of them would almost certainly be Bradley Tech High School, which has had a decade-long plus problem with extreme violence in the hallways and outside of the school. MPS just didn't do it, even though they were required by law as a part of this bill being passed, as part of getting more shared revenue, as part of getting more money for MPS. And remember, this is the same MPS that just got a $250 billion referendum passed in April, even though they couldn't account for nearly $800 million, nearly $1 billion that they had gotten in federal COVID relief money since March of 2020. In fact, the last payments of those federal ESSER grants are still coming in. They're scheduled to be received later this month. MPS actually fired its superintendent and allowed the woman in charge, the chief financial officer of MPS, to resign, to retire, in order to sort of save face and try to prove that we're doing something to get to the bottom of this. Superintendent Keith Posley ousted at a school board meeting last fall after it became apparent that nobody in MPS had any earthly idea where this money went. Well, now we're finding out that, and the Department of Public Instruction, in one of the most corrupt things I've seen in education in a long time, waited until after MPS got its referendum passed and got its additional $250 million of taxpayer funds before telling the public, oh, hey, by the way, MPS still has not reported what it did with the rest of the taxpayer funds that it got in the form of federal ESSER grants. So they were, in other words, disobeying state law, which requires them to file financial reports with the Department of Public Instruction. They are also violating state law by refusing to hire school resource officers. It is now 9 months later, and those officers are still not in the schools. State Senator John Jagler was made aware of this, and he blew the whistle. And in a statement to Fox 6, the Milwaukee Police Department said it's been in communication with MPS on fulfilling the school resource officer requirement in a manner that best meets the needs of our community. Well, clearly the community has a need to not get beaten in mob assaults outside of a McDonald's near Bradley Tech. Would a school resource officer have been able to prevent that? Probably not. Would a school resource officer, however, have been able to get back up there much, much quicker? Yes, undoubtedly. I understand the left-wing fervor over defund the police in the wake of George Floyd's death back in the summer of 2020. But the decriminalization of crime movement, what I've dubbed the George Floyd effect over the subsequent 4 years, has proven that getting police officers out of high crime areas, out of areas where they're in most need of saturated patrols, has been disastrous. That, however, is only part of the problem. What do you think the chances are that the two suspects, both of whom are teenagers, both of whom I'm just going to assume are under 18, it's certainly possible that one or both of them are 18 and thus adults, what do you think the chances are that these two are going to be charged with serious offenses? Probably slim to none, right? Because what else has happened in those 4 years since the George Floyd effect took effect in left-wing cities? We've seen the Milwaukee County District Attorney's Office either not charge serious crimes, not charge crimes at all. You might recall WisconsinRightNow.com doing an excellent series of reports on the crimes that were just not charged. That 50% of felonies, not misdemeanors, not, jaywalking or non-serious stuff, 50% of felonies simply weren't getting charged. The district attorneys, the ADAs were saying, no, we're just going to throw this out. No charges, no charges, no charges. It's called a no process. Almost 70% of misdemeanors. So if this would be charged as misdemeanor disorderly conduct, misdemeanor battery, there would be a very strong chance that the Milwaukee District Attorney's Office just wouldn't charge it. Now, forget about getting any sort of serious consequences for juveniles in the juvenile justice system. They would simply be slapped on the wrist and put right back in school. This has been a long-term problem. Almost exactly 10 years ago, a decade ago, if you can believe this, I did a report. No, I guess it would be 9 years ago. It was 2015. So 9 years ago, I did a documentary called Blood on the Blackboard, Violence in Milwaukee Public Schools, in which I got a whole lot of teachers from a whole bunch of different schools to talk about how they were personally the victims of assault by students and how Milwaukee Public Schools did nothing. Now, this was during the Obama administration, and the Obama administration's Department of Education and Department of Justice sent a joint letter that's become known as the Dear Colleague letter, which had such a profound impact on school discipline that its reverberations repercussions are still felt today. What that letter said is that if there is a school policy, such as if you viciously beat an elderly man in the street, you will be expelled from school or you will be suspended from school. Even if that policy is totally race neutral, right? A black kid, a white kid, a Hispanic kid, an Asian kid, anybody could be suspended or expelled for viciously beating a white man outside of a McDonald's. But if that race-neutral policy results in more students of color or a greater percentage of students of color getting suspended or expelled, we will presume that policy to be racist and thus in violation of federal law and education standards. You can imagine what happened next. All of a sudden, schools just refuse to suspend. They refuse to expel. Because even if they had the most race-neutral policies you could imagine, if they happened to have, even if they had a much higher percentage of African-American students than, say, white students, so you would imagine if you've got a school full of 500 black kids and one white kid, it would be almost impossible for that one white kid to get suspended at a greater percentage than the African-American kids because of the sheer law of numbers. So schools decided, as only left-wing schools can, that, well, in order to gain compliance with this, we should just stop suspending and stop expelling. What happened were out-of-control classrooms that grew worse by the year. And it seems as though we are seeing the ramifications of this now almost more acutely than ever before. A couple of years ago, it was Wauwatosa schools, West Allis schools that had problems with massive brawls. And folks, everybody remembers school fights. Everybody understands that high school kids pumped full of hormones and in close contact with each other, fighting over girlfriends or whatever else, is a normal part of growing up. I'm assuming Mark Twain's one-room schoolhouses occasionally saw a fight. One-on-one, maybe two-on-two. What we're seeing now are these all-out brawls that just feature vicious beatings, not a one-on-one, okay, we're going to have a little Donnybrook, see? And then we're going to settle things as to who gets to date the lovely Becky. It doesn't work like that anymore. You're seeing people get viciously assaulted, and the consequences are non-existent. Now here, thanks to the hard work of Milwaukee police officers who tracked down and arrested these kids, at least they've got that. But now that they're in the criminal justice system, A, there's no guarantee that they're going to face any serious consequences, and B, it's probably unlikely that they're going to be expelled or suspended from Bradley Tech. Because, after all, this didn't happen on school grounds. It didn't happen during school hours. Will there be suspensions or expulsions as a result of this mob beating? I'm not entirely sure. Will there be suspensions or expulsions as a result of the apparent Royal Rumble that happened at Green Tree Middle School on Friday afternoon? Still no guarantee. Sure sounds like MPS just wants this whole thing to go away. We will, of course, not let that happen and stay on this with new developments as they come into us here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. Coming up next, a glaring conflict of interest in the presidential debate.
Conservative thought, not just talk. You're listening to the Dan O'Donnell Show.
Listen to U.S. Senate candidate Eric Hovde in his own words. Hovde insulted Wisconsin seniors.
Almost nobody in a nursing home is in a point to vote.
What a jerk.
Son, I've served this country. I think I can handle a ballot.
Hovde insulted farmers.
Think of farming. Look at the old physical toil that it would take on your body. Now you're largely driving around a tractor.
A California banker criticizing Wisconsin farmers for not working hard?
This guy doesn't have a clue.
And Eric Hovde insulted people who are overweight. He said they should have to pay more for their health care.
There should be consequences to those personal choices. Fine, you want to do that? Your health care is going to cost more.
Hovde would increase health care costs for 1 out of every 3 people in Wisconsin. How insulting is that?
Eric Hovde, what is wrong with this guy?
Paid for by Tammy Baldwin for Senate.
I'm Tammy Baldwin, candidate for Senate, and I approve this message.
Have you ever felt like this about your auto dealer?
When I bought my SUV at Holiday Mazda, it was downright fun. And one reason was because it was so easy. Set up the test drive on Holiday's website, greeted at the door by a guest experience specialist, vehicle was ready, he showed me how it worked, great test drive, nailed down the financing, and boom, I bought the vehicle. Easy process, wonderful experience.
At Holiday Mazda, creating car buying experiences that delight and make fans of guests is what drives us. Gear up for your fall trips now during the SUV season sales event. Get more Mazda for your money, more for your trade, and score enticing offers, like rates as low as 0% on most 2024 all-wheel drive Mazda SUV models. Connect with the road, love what you drive, and where you get it.
I'm WISN's Jerry Bott, and I drive Holiday.
Find yours and drive it home today from Wisconsin's #1, Holiday Mazda Fond du Lac and HolidayMazda.com.
It's worth the trip.
Hi, it's John Reitz from Great Midwest Bank. And you know, there's more to being a local Wisconsin bank than perfectly pronouncing Oconomowoc or Waukesha. Or is it Waukesha? But rest assured, at Great Midwest Bank, we understand the local community and economy because we're a part of it. At GMB, we provide customized lending products that others just can't offer. Experience a hometown banking difference. Head to greatmidwestbank.com. Great Midwest Bank, your simply local equal housing lender.
I'm Brett Ochtenhagen, owner of Brett Ochtenhagen Seasonal Services and host of the Design Your Yard Show. Do you live in a home with distinctive architectural charm? Maybe it's a classic Dutch colonial with a timeless gambrel roof, or a prairie-style home with sleek horizontal lines. We admire unique architecture and the beauty of its influence throughout our homes. But does your landscape reflect that same character? At Seasonal Services, we believe the beauty of your home's architecture shouldn't stop at the walls. It should flow outdoors into the landscape. Your outdoor space should embrace the architectural features you love. Since 1994, the architects at Seasonal Services have been blending personal style with architectural harmony. We design and craft outdoor environments that complement the beauty and the character of your home. If you're planning a landscaping project and want to honor your home's architectural charm, call Brett Ochtenhagen Seasonal Services at 262-392-3444 or visit us online at seasonalservices.com.
How would you like to own a jewelry store? Kessler's Diamonds is an employee-owned company.
And Kessler's is growing. Are you the kind of person we're looking for?
Does it make you happy to make other people happy? Are you a problem solver?
Would you like to wake up every morning knowing that you're going to help a lot of people find joy today?
Kessler's Diamonds is people serving people.
Keep in mind that Kessler's is owned by its employees. So let me ask you this. Are you a good enough leader that you can be an owner who leads other owners?
Don't worry, you don't have to know about diamonds. We can teach you about diamonds, but the people we're looking for aren't looking for a job.
Did someone pop into your head just now?
Do you think you might know who we're looking for?
Give that person a call.
Send them an email.
Tell them to walk into Kessler's Diamonds and say to the person who greets them,
I think I want to work here.
Welcome to Kessler's.
A fantastic place to buy jewelry and a wonderful place to work.
For the store nearest you, visit KesslersDiamonds.com.
Life is precious, but it could all get taken away in an instant. That's why a 4-week emergency food kit from My Patriot Supply belongs in your home. It's got everything you could need during a crisis. With over 2,000 calories per day, there's enough to go around during times of social unrest, government crackdowns, or God forbid, an attack on the homeland. The food lasts up to 25 years, ready whenever disaster strikes. We've seen mass panic in our lifetimes before. Some were not that long ago. So don't take your family's safety for granted. Go to MyPatriotSupply.com and save $50 on your 4-week emergency food kit. And My Patriot Supply will ship it for free as fast as humanly possible. Get your 4-week emergency food kit now at MyPatriotSupply.com. MyPatriotSupply.com.
People across Wisconsin are enjoying the rewards, stability, and flexibility of a career in healthcare. Why not you? Wish Caregiver Careers can get you started as a certified direct care professional. You'll learn the skills you need to make life better for older adults or people with a disability. All training is free and online. Plus, earn $500 in bonuses. Start your new career. Sign up today at wiscaregivercdcp.com. Sponsored by the Wisconsin Department of Health Services.
What constitutes a conflict of interest in the media? Is it having some sort of personal connection with a political figure you cover? Is it having some sort of financial interest? In fact, I actually just did. I was so proud of myself. First time in my decade plus of working here at iHeartMedia. I did our mandatory ethics training the day I got the link to do the mandatory ethics training. Usually I do it the last possible day after about 15 reminder emails from upper management. Yeah, there's a countdown clock outside of my office. Dan, do the ethics training. It's like 45 minutes. And what absolutely boggles my mind is they have done the exact same. You know how they test your knowledge with questions? They have done the exact same questions for at least 8 or 9 years. I can do this in my head. Bob and Jim want to split up sales territory. What did they do wrong? Well, they talked to each other. They were drinking alcohol at a bar. No, they divided sales territory. It's the exact same. Then there was the one where Jim finds out Mandy is making a photocopy of some sort of thing. What should Jim do? Nothing, because he didn't have first hand. No, Jim has to report that. So I just did the ethics training. We did all about conflicts of interest. For example, and there was a good question about conflict of interest. Joe's wife has a podcast, and Joe, who works in sales, says to one of his clients, hey, you should definitely sponsor my wife's podcast. Conflict of interest, right? Here's an interesting ethical question. For a member of the media, should you have to, and remember, not all conflicts of interest mean you can't cover a subject. I just talked about John Jagler. He's now a state senator. I've known Jags forever. When I first started in radio at age 19, I was always super proud that John Jagler in the morning show, they always played the feature stories I did because they thought I was really talented and thought I was, a good broadcaster. I always looked up to John Jagler. Does that mean I cannot cover John Jagler? Of course not. I feel like every time I have him on or talk about him, I should, disclose that we have this personal relationship. When should someone disclose that they have some sort of personal relationship or some sort of close tie to, say, a presidential candidate? The moderator in the debate, who is not David Muir, you've probably already forgotten her name. It is Lindsay Davis. There are all sorts of glowing stories about Lindsay Davis right now. A star is born because she held Trump's feet to the fire on the abortion issue. Lindsay Davis is apparently a member of the same sorority that Kamala Harris is. This was confirmed on January 20th, 2021, during ABC News' coverage of Harris and Biden's inauguration. George Stephanopoulos talking about why Harris and women all across the country were wearing pearl earrings in support of her.
Lindsay Davis, Robin Roberts is right. It's a sorority thing. I don't understand it all. So you have to explain it to everybody. Sure. You're a sorority sister of Kamala Harris.
Right. Well,
Did you catch that? You're a sorority sister of Kamala Harris.
Pearls are a symbol of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, which she pledged while she was at Howard University. And the strand of pearls is symbolic of the unity and the sisterhood, okay? But on this day, there's actually a Facebook page of women who say, wear pearls on January 20th, 2021, and hundreds of thousands of women are apparently wearing pearls in support of her.
Now, Kamala Harris is 60 years old. Lindsay Davis is 47. Were they ever in the sorority at the same time? No. Were they ever in the sorority at the same school? I don't believe Kamala Harris ever attended Howard University. But they are in the same sorority. This is actually an interesting ethical question, especially in light of the fact that it sure looked like Davis was going after Trump far more than she was going after Kamala Harris in Tuesday night's debate. Should she have, or should ABC News have disclosed the fact that they're both in the same sorority? I'll admit that it's an interesting ethical question. Now, neither producer Dave nor I were in fraternities, or do I have that wrong? You weren't in a fraternity in Whitewater, were you? No. Neither producer Dave nor I were in fraternities when we were in college. So I guess I wouldn't have firsthand knowledge of how deep that tie is, for one, and how deep it remains later on in life. I was under the impression that one of the big reasons that you get into fraternities is that if you meet a fraternity brother or a sorority sister outside of school, and your frat or sorority has national chapters all over the country at different schools, you meet somebody, there's that connection. And if you're looking for a job with a Kappa Alpha Kappa or Alpha Kappa Alpha sister, that, hey, we're both in the same sorority. All right, you've got a huge leg up on getting this job. That's just unfortunately how the world works. It's, as the old cliche goes, not about what you know, but often who you know. Is the connection of both of these women being in the same sorority, which I will give credit to Rachel Campos Duffy of Fox News, wife of great friend of the show, former Wisconsin congressman and current Fox News personality, Sean Duffy. Rachel, a very, very good host. I think she is one of the future stars of that network, by the way. No insult to Sean, but I think, well, the two of them, they're obviously, Fox News they've run like a Christmas cookbook with the Duffys or something. They did like a Christmas podcast or something. They clearly love the Duffy family. Yes, Sean, very good memory. When Sean was a congressman, we had him on every St. Patrick's Day. He referred to me as his Irish brother. We'd have him in studio. Rachel Campos Duffy, I believe, was the one who broke this news, which was subsequently confirmed by that video of George Stephanopoulos and Lindsay Davis saying, hey, yeah, we were in the sorority. It's Alpha Kappa Alpha. I'll be totally honest with you. My initial gut says, yes, that should have been disclosed, maybe not on the broadcast itself, but certainly by ABC News beforehand saying, look, Lindsay Davis, we should identify this potential conflict. She is in the same sorority. Now, does that mean she was going easier on Kamala Harris than she was on Trump? No, she was going easier on Kamala Harris than she was on Trump, because the conflict of interest that really matters is that she and David Muir and clearly everyone involved in the ABC News product is liberal and hates Donald Trump. Unhinged liberal of the day, coming up next.
Conservative thought, not just talk. The Dan O'Donnell Show is coming right back.
Make American Family Field your space to grow relationships with clients, employees, and prospects with Brewers season memberships for the 2025 season. Your corporate season membership with the Brewers grants exclusive discounts on premium meeting spaces, invitations to networking events, and one-of-a-kind opportunities to grow your business at the ballpark. Learn more about Brewers season memberships for businesses at brewers.com/ticket plans or call 414-902-PITS.
Well, that's why you have to check out our website. We're pretty proud of our before and after photos because they show off just how good we really are. I can confidently say that whatever you bring us, we're going to use every bit of magic we have to turn it into a one-of-a-kind work of art. So if you're looking for the finest in furniture finishing and heirloom restoration, by golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. Serving everywhere. Quality counts. Mullally finishing.com. If it's worth restoring, we're going to tell you. If it's not worth the cost of restoring, then we're going to give you an honest answer. You don't stay in the furniture finishing business for nearly 50 years unless you're honest and talented. Luckily, we're both. And that means all of your expectations will be met. So if you want only the finest in furniture finishing and heirloom restoration, by golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. We're no job's too small. Serving everywhere. Quality counts.
This is Mike and Jim from Brillo Home Improvements. You know, Jim, there are a lot of things that we're pretty proud of here at Brillo, but one thing that sticks out to me is repeat business.
Well, it means not only did we do a good job, but sometime during the project's progress, a connection was made.
Now, it could be because of the quality work we're known for, or it could be our down-to-earth approach.
But when we see folks come back to us for their next new project,
it expresses the one thing that our customers definitely need to have to hire us, and that is trust. After over 45 years, we've earned the awards.
And when you look at our portfolio of projects,
you'll see for yourself how good we actually are.
And when you meet us, you're going to know that you can trust us. For NARI award-winning home remodeling,
and about as down-to-earth of an approach as you're going to find,
go to BrilloHomeImprovements.com.
And it will only be a matter of time before we take your project to a whole new level.
Transforming your dreams into reality. Brillo.
Donald Trump's back, and he's out for control.
I would have every right to go after them.
Complete control.
I will wield that power very aggressively.
And he has a plan to get it.
Detailed plans for exactly what our movement will do.
It's called Project 2025, a 922-page blueprint to make Donald Trump the most powerful president ever. Overhauling the Department of Justice, giving Trump the unchecked power to seek vengeance, eliminating the Department of Education, and defunding K-12 schools, requiring the government to monitor women's pregnancies, and Trump has also proposed severe cuts to Medicare and Social Security. Those are Donald Trump's plans.
Well, revenge does take time, I will say that. And sometimes revenge can be justified.
He'll take control, we'll pay the price.
I'm Kamala Harris, candidate for president, and I approve this message. Paid for by Harris for President.
This weekend at Fletcher Arms, food, fun, and firearms. Come join us for an end-of-summer party at our Fletcher Arms Lake Country location in Pewaukee this Saturday, September 14th, starting at 11 a.m. It's our biggest sale of the year. Enter to win a Fletcher Arms gift certificate, play some games, enjoy some food and beverage, and come hang out with your Fletcher Arms staff. We'll have something for the whole family, including a child safety event for the little ones. See you this Saturday, September 14th at Fletcher Arms in Pewaukee for food, fun, and firearms.
Dr. Ryan Green, sharing a weight loss discovery.
You've heard of those weight loss injections that produce shocking results, right? If your goal is to lose weight, a group of doctors created a remarkable weight loss supplement called Lean, and it's very encouraging. The studied ingredients in Lean have been shown to help maintain healthy glucose levels, help burn fat by converting fat into energy, and reduce appetite so you eat less. Lean could be the weight loss answer you've been searching for.
Visit TakeLean.com, promo code radio. That's TakeLean.com, promo code radio.
At Semper Fi Roofing and Exteriors, we have finance options for new exterior remodeling projects for almost anybody. And if you have the right credit, we'll beat your bank's rate.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semper Fi.
Join News Talk 1130 this Saturday at 4 p.m. for The Word on Medicine, the show that brings you the latest medical innovations and discoveries by physicians and scientists at the Medical College of Wisconsin. That's Saturday afternoon at 4 on News Talk 1130, WISN.
Absolutely hate in this brave new online world that we live in right now. Yes, honestly, Dave, I think the thing I hate most, reaction videos. reaction videos, where you just play someone else's video and you sit there and mug for the camera. So it's like a picture-in-picture feature that they'll put on TikTok or whatever other. And it's literally, if I have one critique of Ben Shapiro, who I think is absolutely fantastic, brilliant dude, I love Daily Wire, he relies way too much on that, where it's just a lefty saying something crazy and, what? Huh? You know who would have been really, really good at reaction videos if they existed 35 years ago? That is so wild, producer Dave, that you said the exact person I was thinking of. Jim Carrey would have been perfect at these reaction videos with his rubber face, mugging. That was basically Jim Carrey's entire act. And I know he's a giant lib. Heaven help me, I cannot hate Jim Carrey. Remember, I was like 12, 13 years old when his incredible run of 1994 to about 1996 happened. So I thought Jim Carrey was absolutely hilarious. Ditto with Adam Sandler, who, don't tell anybody, actually is a conservative Republican and has been for decades. That whole crew he rolls with. Rob Schneider is pretty open about his conservatism. Steve Buscemi, I think, is a little quieter about it, but he's obviously a big supporter of law enforcement, firefighters especially. Kevin James, I have heard, is a big conservative. Chris Rock has, I think, been red-pilled in his old age. That whole cadre. Was Norm Macdonald a conservative? Are you kidding me? He was probably more libertarian, but oh, absolutely, very much he leaned more to the right. David Spade, I think, a little bit more right-leaning. You'll notice, because none of them are super open about being libs or politics at all. This brings me, though, to our unhinged liberal of the day.
Make me crazy.
Trump is Hitler.
We are in pre-Nazi Germany.
Make me crazy.
All white people are racist.
Does that make me crazy?
Trump is dangerous because he's evil. America is over.
As you could imagine, today's unhinged liberal of the day did indeed post the bane of my existence, a reaction video. It is Don Lemon, who on TikTok yesterday posted a reaction video to Melania Trump speaking out very emotionally about the assassination attempt of her husband. And she said she was terrified. You can feel the emotion in her voice. This is really the first time we've heard Melania talk about the fateful events of July 13th. Don Lemon can be seen in a small video directly under Melania's face, shaking his head, doing the, I can't believe what I'm seeing face. And ultimately, as his picture grows larger in the frame, he puts his hand over his head and shakes his head as though he's disgusted by what he's seeing. Lemon was so shamed by people saying, dude, do you have zero humanity? This is a wife talking about the fact that her husband was 4 millimeters away from being shot in the head and killed. He deleted the TikTok video, but not before it spread like wildfire, making Don Lemon the unhinged liberal of the day. That is one thing you will never see me do, is one of those. Now, I might do a video where I react with words to something that happened. Like, I'll play a video that's basically half of my show is responding to ridiculous sound bites. But just sitting there making faces for the camera is like the lowest form of entertainment. At least mimes had a good act of their own. They didn't just need to react to other stuff. Dan O'Donnell Show coming right back after the news.
News that's factual, fair, and balanced. This is continuing coverage on News Talk 1130 WISN, Milwaukee.
Good morning, I'm Ted Allen. The latest Marquette University Law School poll shows Vice President Kamala Harris leading over Republican candidate Donald Trump. Poll director Charles Franklin says it remains a close race.
So 4-point race. Harris at 52, Trump at 48. That's with registered voters. Now don't blink when I go to the next slide, which is also 52-48 with likely voters.
Poll's results don't reflect Tuesday night's debate. The 4-point margin for Harris is also within the 4.6 percentage point margin of error. A diver's body is recovered from Lake Michigan near Kenosha. Patrick Kelly of Winthrop Harbor, Illinois, was on the lake with his wife on his 72nd birthday when he went exploring for a shipwreck 6 miles off the shore in Pleasant Prairie. Kelly was reported missing when he failed to resurface Tuesday morning.
We're going to be responding for a 72-year-old male diver who did not come back up.
Kelly's body was recovered yesterday morning, roughly 120 feet below the surface. An ongoing investigation is being conducted to find out what went wrong in the water for Kelly. Tropical storm Francine is dumping huge amounts of rain across Louisiana, southern Mississippi, Alabama, and the Florida Panhandle. Francine made landfall as a Category 2 hurricane in Louisiana yesterday evening and has since weakened to a tropical storm. Almost 400,000 customers were without power in Louisiana. Checking the holiday automotive of Fond du Lac Sports scoreboard, it's the rubber game of the series between the Brewers and Giants tonight in San Francisco. From the Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin News Center, I'm Ted Allen on Wisconsin's most listened to radio station, News Talk 1130 WISN.
Dan O'Donnell here for the Lynch family of dealerships. It's truck season at Lynch. It's fall and hunting season is right around the corner. So maybe it's time you upgrade your truck, and the place to do it is at Lynch. This month at Lynch, buy any new car or truck and receive a $500 accessory gift card. Plus, Lynch has financing as low as 1.9% to get you into the truck of your dreams. Whether it's the F-150, Maverick, Ranger, Silverado, Colorado, Sierra, or Ram, nobody sells for less than Lynch. With over 350 trucks in stock and top dollar for your trade, it'll be easy to find the perfect truck at one of their convenient locations. Lynch Chevrolet of Mukwonago, Lynch Ford of Mukwonago, Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram of Mukwonago, Lynch Chevrolet of Kenosha, Lynch Buick GMC in West Bend, and of course, the Lynch GM Superstore in Burlington. Or search the huge Lynch selection and shop 24 hours a day at shoplynch.com.
Here's the latest forecast from the Fox 6 weather experts.
Another hazy day today with wildfire smoke once again aloft. High near 86, 82 lakeside with a southeast turning northeast wind. Partly cloudy and 65 tonight. Partly sunny tomorrow, 82 inland, 78 lakeside. I'm Fox 6 Chief Meteorologist Rob Haswell.
This report is sponsored by Storage Mart.
Too much stuff and not enough space? Storage Mart is here to help. Find secure and affordable storage solutions for home, office, and more at a Storage Mart near you. Visit storage-mart.com today to rent space online. Storage Mart. Make room for more.
You wake up feeling like you just boxed 12 rounds. Some wake up sweating with sore jaws, headaches, and a lot of our patients complain of brain fog. I'm Dr. Madan Kandula, and these signs, often joined with snoring, are sleep apnea symptoms. And if this sounds like you may have been in a struggle last night between you and this serious disorder. Many people aren't willing to fight back. But the fact is, you can't go through these nightly struggles without ramifications that each night chip away at your life's expiration date. I get it. You don't want to wear a CPAP mask. You may find out you don't need one. We have every effective sleep apnea solution available. And believe me, the mask is the last resort.
Solving your breathing triangle problem can lead to better sleep and a better quality of life. Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better.
AdventKnows.com.
Results may vary.
The following takes place outside of the Capitol Heating, Cooling, and Electric headquarters.
I don't know, but Mama said you're inhaling particulates. If you don't clean out your ducts, you will be fresh out of luck. And air, clean air, healthy air.
Jason, what is happening? Merle's really whipping the crew into shape. You know he's a squirrel, right? Seth, people throughout history have respected leaders of all kinds. Like Squirrel Alexander the Great. You know, I think you're underestimating him. Really? Watch.
Capital cleans your ducts with high-powered trucks.
Because Capital believes you deserve to breathe clean, healthy air.
We destroy bacteria and annihilate allergies.
He's making them do push-ups. Yeah. Huh. See?
If you haven't had a duct cleaning in 5 years, schedule your Capital duct cleaning today at callcapitalcares.com.
Dr. Ryan Green, sharing a weight loss discovery.
You've heard of those weight loss injections that produce shocking results, right? If your goal is to lose weight, a group of doctors created a remarkable weight loss supplement called Lean, and it's very encouraging. The studied ingredients in Lean have been shown to help maintain healthy glucose levels, help burn fat by converting fat into energy, and reduce appetite so you eat less. Lean could be the weight loss answer you've been searching for.
Visit TakeLean.com, promo code radio. That's TakeLean.com, promo code radio.
When you've made the choice to buy the industry's best, Marvin Replacement Windows, find them at Wisconsin's largest Marvin window dealer. Your clear choice for more, Lisbon Storm Screen and Door.
Your clear choice for more, Lisbon Storm Screen and Door.
Sick of all the homeowner headaches? Tired of being a landlord? Did you inherit a property? Go to MetroMilwaukeeHomebuyer.com. We are a local family business, A+ with the BBB. It will make you a fair as-is cash offer within 24 hours. No fees, just cash. MetroMilwaukeeHomebuyer.com.
Wisconsin's most listened to radio station. News Talk 1130 WISN.
Be sure to listen to the NX Wealth Management Investment Show Saturday mornings at 11 and Sunday afternoons at 1 on News Talk 1130 WISN. NX provides its expertise to arm listeners with the knowledge and tools to invest wisely. NX Wealth Management. Know the difference.
Saturday, Alabama comes to the camp. Badgers Game Day is live from Union South at 7 a.m. Kickoff at 11.
We're gonna play football. Yes,
on Milwaukee's home for the Badgers. 97.3 The Game.
Definition of irony. So I hopped on our YouTube channel's chat, and someone was commenting, hey, why is nobody chatting? And I said, come on, you lazy bums, let's get the chat section lit. Come on, Dan Nation. I know there's a ton of you watching. Usually there's a very good conversation that's going on. I kind of try to pay attention to it. And then I wanted to tell them, hey, we have got a big update to the Bradley Tech brawl story that I broke in the 9 o'clock hour. Here is what happened. And the comment was not allowed to post. And it said, YouTube rejected your comment. This usually means they think it's spam. Try changing it a bit. Yes, YouTube, I am spamming my own live feed. If, by the way, you would like to watch us on YouTube, Dan O'Donnell or Dan O'Donnell Show, just search it, pop right up. Be sure to like and subscribe, as the kids say, so you don't miss a second. You can also watch us streaming live on X at Dan O'Donnell Show and Facebook.com/Dan O'Donnell Show as well. That update. I have learned through multiple social media postings that have been brought to my attention within the past hour that there is scheduled to be at 3 o'clock today, right outside Bradley Tech High School, a massive protest by Milwaukee's Puerto Rican and Latino community. It turns out that the man who was beaten is 67 years old and Puerto Rican. This still classifies him as white. He is white Latino. Who is the only person who is ever described as, this is, by the way, this is for purposes of demographic identification. Nobody says white Latino or white Hispanic. Puerto Ricans are considered white for the purposes of census. They are white and Latino. Don't ask me to get, I don't want to get questioned by David Muir about, do you think this guy's white or Latino? Well, all I can tell you is that his face was red. So frankly, I didn't get a good look at it. He was viciously beaten. And, I don't mean to make jokes. This is obviously very serious. And we wish this man a very speedy recovery. It does seem he was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. According to social media, he is, and someone I'm not going to identify who would know, let's just say is related to this man, said he is 67 years old. I was able to kind of verify through the ways I usually verify stuff. In case you guys think that I just sit back, kick up my feet, and sip coffee during commercial breaks, well, that's exactly what I usually do. But occasionally when I'm chasing down a big story like this, I am working the phones. I am just trying to get more information, texting sources and stuff like this. I am not going to share the social media posts that I have seen calling for these protests at Bradley Tech because, frankly, I think the potential for violence is unfortunately kind of strong. You had a very violent incident that clearly the Latino community in Milwaukee thinks was racially motivated, or they are looking for justice for this. You have a group of black assailants who have already proven themselves to be quite violent. It's just a volatile situation. In fact, if I'm Bradley Tech High School and this is as potentially volatile as it appears to be, I would very strongly considering ending the school day a little bit early. I realize that involves getting buses there early, getting parents notified and all of this. But I can tell you, just based on the social media postings and some rumblings within MPS that I'm hearing, is there is some serious concern about what's going on. Do you think the local media will report on this? Yes. Now that we know, we're checking right now to see if local media other than the Dan O'Donnell Show is reporting on this. I'm sure Belling will talk about it. Say that again? Oh, good. Producer Dave is looking for this story and he found, hey, it's Suicide Prevention Week and we can get free gun locks. Okay, yeah, that's great. And I recognize, look, folks, sometimes my critique of local media, and I am always very, very quick to praise reporters who do a good job and are fair. I did today. The reporter Heather Ray, I almost said Colin Ray, Rachel Ray, Jimmy Ray, remember that one-hit wonder from like 1996? Whoever the reporter's name is, Ray, did an excellent job covering the Green Tree Middle School brawl. I'll just say Rachel Ray because I just remember her last name was Ray, and I feel really bad. I don't mean to make fun. Colin Ray's sister. Let's just Jenna Ray. Thank you, Dave. Jenna, you did a great job. I didn't mean to butcher your name. She does listen to the station. Producer Dave says he can confirm because Dave does a lot of news for us. I'm taking a wild guess she has called you to ask you about stories. That's good. You know what? That is something that a lot of reporters won't do. The Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel will never admit it, but I know their newsroom and certainly a lot of their reporters listen to WISN because, frankly, it's a great place to get stories. Do you think just because I have an issue with the bias that appears in the Journal-Sentinel, I don't think that they do great reporting work. They do great investigative reporting. Who is it that's doing the podcast series? Her relative is in the mafia and got blown up in a car bombing. Oh, yeah, it's a gripping story. Locally, yeah, it's a Journal-Sentinel reporter. It's fascinating. I listened to the first episode, and like most of the time when I start a book or a podcast or a TV series, didn't continue, but it's just very well produced, very well reported. It's good journalism. I'm not going to deny that. I think Dan Bice gets great scoops. I think all in all, on balance, he's a good reporter. Is he biased against the right? Yeah. Does the left also get mad at him? Yes, I can say firsthand, Democrats get mad at Dan Bice all the time. Mary Spacuzza. I should have figured. I didn't want to be stereotypical and be like, yeah, the woman with the obviously Italian last name had the relative in the mafia. It is Mary Spicuzza. It is Mary Spicuzza. And just in case you think Dan O'Donnell, I am 50% Sicilian. So I think I'm the one Sicilian who has absolutely zero mob ties whatsoever. In fact, my mother was in the U.S. Attorney's Office and actually was on the team that prosecuted Sally Papilla, and she cross-examined Ms. Papilla back in the 1970s. Sally Papilla was Frank Balistreri's girlfriend. For those, I know. Dave, thank you. We have listeners from all over, viewers from all over the country. Frank Balistreri was the Milwaukee mob boss, probably best known outside of Milwaukee. He was one of the old men in Casino when Joe Pesci or Ace Rothstein. No. He wasn't. No, yes, I know, Dave. He wasn't actually in the movie. I think that the Casino came out after Frank had died. Yeah, 95 it came out. But he was one of the Milwaukee bosses who is long reputed to have deep tentacles in the Las Vegas casinos way back in the day. Okay, I'm way too far afield of what I was originally talking about, which is massive protest planned for 3 o'clock. And if, in fact, this is as concerning as it sounds, because, look, there are tensions that are high that I believe have been exacerbated by the racial component of this. You almost think if you're MPS, you just want to make sure that everyone is safe, because the last thing anyone wants, least of all me, is, unless you think, by the way, that the big bad conservative Dan O'Donnell is the reason that there's going to be no, this thing was all over social media before I picked up on it. And this is what I do as a reporter. I report things. Should we step aside for a break? What do you think we should do now, Dave? Should we talk about the Marquette poll? Is that too jarring, or take an early break? What's the other option? I don't know. Just kind of say random stuff. The other thing is, should we do talk radio roulette? Whatever you give me a topic. It's like, do you remember high school speech class where you had to do the impromptu speeches? And you have to do like a 3-minute speech about any topic. Let's just do that. Okay. Marquette University Law School poll out yesterday shows about a 4 or 5 point lead for both Tammy Baldwin in the U.S. Senate race and Kamala Harris in the presidential race. Here is the big takeaway from this Marquette poll. It only sampled 717 likely voters and has a margin of error of 4.7%, which seems abnormally high. Usually you want a margin of error lower than 3%, but I understand why you are contracted to put out a poll. It's a big thing. It is considered the best poll of Wisconsin, even though, as we established earlier in the week, the final Marquette University Law School poll of 2020 had Joe Biden up by 6.7% over Donald Trump. He ended up winning by 0.7%. Again, past performance does not always equal or predict future performance, but there clearly is, and I don't want to impugn Charles Franklin or the Marquette poll by saying there is some pro-Democrat bias. I'm not saying this is being done intentionally, but Democrats typically overperform and overperform relatively sizably in the Marquette poll, especially in August and September. Is this poll a cause for concern? Probably not. For Eric Hovde, obviously it is. He has consistently been in pretty much every poll down 4 or 5 points. I think that is probably the power of the incumbency that Tammy Baldwin has, and the fact that it just boggles my mind that people in northern and western Wisconsin still view her as our Tammy and don't recognize that she is an empty pantsuit vote for the radical left agenda and represents everything they hate about modern Democratic politics. But for whatever reason, she is abnormally strong in northern Wisconsin and western Wisconsin, and with the ability of Democrats to turn out the votes, especially in the city of Madison, but across Dane County, making a very, very difficult climb for Republicans to win statewide now. I think Hovde is probably realistically down somewhere in the neighborhood of 2 to 3 points. Now, this is great because last time Tammy ran for re-election, she consistently led Leah Vukmir by about 9-10 points in what was admittedly a very, very big blue wave Democratic year, but she ended up winning by about 10%, if memory serves. That race was called almost immediately once the polls closed in November of 2018. Clearly, Hovde has a lot more support than Vukmir did. That's not to impugn Vukmir as a candidate. She was just running in a very, very difficult year. Republicans outside of Ohio and Florida really didn't do that well. And remember, Ron DeSantis, who just got done winning re-election in a landslide, won by less than 1% over his Democrat opponent in 2018. And this is as Florida is turning far more Republican. Wisconsin, by contrast, has turned a bit more blue because of the influx of votes coming specifically from Dane County. What's actually kind of remarkable about politics in Wisconsin is that votes coming out of Milwaukee County have been relatively flat or even down, but the Dane County get out the vote machine is just unparalleled. They have been able to mobilize every single kid on that campus, and they vote Democrat to the tune of 80 to 90%. When you've got 90% turnout, in Dane County, the Madison metro area is one of the absolute fastest growing in the state and even in the upper Midwest. People just love the city of Madison. Even if they hate the politics, you can't deny that Madison is a fantastic city. I mean, you've got the isthmus between two gorgeous lakes. You've got the state capitol. You've got one of the most vibrant, fun college campuses in the University of Wisconsin. State Street with its eclectic shops. You've got a great restaurant and arts scene. I mean, what's not to like about the Madison area, right? And now graduates of Madison, Wisconsin, can go literally anywhere because of the rise of telework, especially since the 2020 COVID lockdowns where people were forced to work from home. Now more and more people, especially younger people who are more likely to vote Democrat, are staying in Madison and working at Google or working at, Shopify or wherever because they can do it remotely. They don't actually have to be in an office in San Francisco or in Seattle as tech workers who are typically more liberal than the general population would have had to in generations past. In the presidential race, I'm not going to say that Wisconsin is not as consequential as it was, because it still is. We are one of the 7 states that is going to determine the presidency, just as we were in 2016 and 2020, just as we have been for about as many election cycles as I can remember. We're just a very, very close state. Trump being within the margin of error, albeit just barely, is probably a good sign. Now, the last Marquette poll that was taken in August, shortly after Kamala was installed as the candidate, showed essentially a 50-50 race. So she's gone up to 52%. He's gone down to 48%. But again, with this wide margin of error, that's really not a statistically very significant difference. And in fact, you even heard Franklin in the top of the hour news, if you were listening to us on WISN radio, on the radio. And I think the newscasts air on the live stream too, right? No, they don't. Okay, well then. That settles that. So if you were listening to us on the radio, you would have heard Charles Franklin say this is still a very close race. And that's what he's talking about, even though it's a 4-point Kamala lead and Tammy Baldwin lead. That's sort of misleading because of the wide margin of error. We also had another couple of rounds of national polling coming out that are all showing the exact same thing. Dead heat nationally, which shockingly probably translates to a Trump landslide.
Classical conservatism, contemporary style. This is the Dan O'Donnell Show.
Bob Tarantino here for EasyHomeBidder.com. A 62 Ferrari sold for $52 million, and a 1955 Mercedes sold for $142 million, with both buyers and sellers excited to win. Want to win selling your home? Want to win buying your home? Only EasyHomeBidder.com guarantees maximum sales exposure and maximum buying opportunity. Sell or buy real estate, your big win is waiting at EasyHomeBidder.com. That's EasyHomeBidder.com. Real estate for winners, EasyHomeBidder.com. That's EasyHomeBidder.com.
Getting ready for deer hunting this season? Don't forget to do your part to keep Wisconsin's herd healthy. Get your deer tested for chronic wasting disease. CWD has been detected in over half of Wisconsin's counties. CWD testing and continuing to hunt help us track and slow the spread of the disease. We've made testing convenient and free for hunters statewide. Visit the DNR website to learn about testing options near you.
I'm Jim Cantrell, and I believe we can show you a wiser way to build your wealth. So go to financialstrategiesinc.com and schedule a no-cost consultation.
Financial strategies, a wiser way to build your wealth.
Goodyear, Dunlop, Kelly, Continental, General, you name it, we got it.
Plus, free flat tire repair, free tire rotations, and more.
So when you're due for tire service, schedule it at richlawns.com.
That's Rich Lawns with 2 N's.
Rich Lawns.
Let's see, if something costs less, but people are happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, and that is Medi-Share. Maybe you've heard switching to Medi-Share to pay for healthcare can save many families up to $500 a month. And that is huge. But it's also true that people are way more satisfied after making the switch, too. The member satisfaction rate for Medi-Share is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. Medi-Share works, too. It's been around for 30 years. Members have shared more than $5 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network. So, yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now. You'll get a price within 2 minutes. So see what you can save. This is a very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. Call 844-43-BIBLE. That's 844-43-BIBLE. 844-43-BIBLE.
Welcome to Jeep Adventure Days at Five Corners. Hi, it's Roman Weininger inviting you to select and save on select Jeeps, Rams, and Wagoneers. You select the vehicle and you select the savings. The biggest savings ever. Select with rebates and discounts on select models. A new Jeep Wrangler and Grand Cherokee get up to $10,000 off. A new Wagoneer, $9,000 off. And get $8,000 off on a new Ram 2500. We need your trade. We'll give you top dollar for your trade. Trade today. We service small trucks, medium trucks, and big trucks. Trucks are us at Five Corners. Visit us today. Highway 60 Cedarburg.
A tour de force of truth, the sort of truth the rest of the media tends to ignore. It is the Dan O'Donnell Show. Welcome back to it. A couple of more national polls. And remember what I always say, national polls are instructive, but the popular vote really doesn't matter all that much. And the only thing you should really be looking at is state polls. State polls in the 7 swing states that are almost certainly going to decide this election. Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, that's the big prize. Georgia, the second biggest prize. Arizona, the third biggest prize. Then Nevada and North Carolina as well. But we also have new national polls by Signal. Signal Analytics is one that is reasonably respected in the polling industry. Shows Harris with a 49-47 lead. Now, what's notable about this is that Harris has pretty much stayed flat since August 8th, the last time a Signal poll came out. And this was at the height of Brat Summer, the biggest sugar rush in modern presidential history, which was really more of a feeling of relief washing over Democrats who no longer believed that everything was going to be lost with Joe Biden at the top of the ticket that November. What is very interesting about this is that on the generic ballot, which is typically typically used for a general sense of which party is doing better in the congressional race. The GOP has a 1-point lead, 48-47. Amongst Hispanics, this is where things get interesting. Trump gets 43% of the vote. That's potentially massive. He gets 14% of the African American vote, which, again, if he gets somewhere near that, combined with, I'll say, even 40% of the Hispanic vote, chances are Harris can't win. Amongst those who have an unfavorable opinion of both candidates, the so-called double haters, I don't think there are nearly as many as with Biden and Trump, the people who hate both candidates. Among those who hate both Harris and Trump, they're going to vote Trump 57% to 29%. Why is that? Because the fundamentals of this election still favor Trump. People know that they are not doing nearly as well as they were under Trump. They know the Biden-Harris administration has badly damaged the nation's economy. They blame her and they blame Biden for it. This is why she has been trying desperately to cast herself as the change agent. I am the candidate of change. How exactly can you be the change agent when you have been vice president for 3.5 years? An additional poll, YouGov, in conjunction with The Economist, similarly shows Kamala Harris and Donald Trump tied at 45%. All of these polls, of course, were in the field before the debate. Will there be a massive sea change in the poll? Will Kamala get a huge post-debate bump? I'm not necessarily sure because, as I always say, debates are about moments. And there was only one massive moment that I think right now anybody remembers.
In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. And this is what's happening in our country, and it's a shame.
People in Springfield have, by the way, been coming out in droves to say, yeah, stray cats are totally disappearing. One woman told an emotional story about the death of her mother, who was out taking in the trash, and a Haitian migrant plowed into her while driving recklessly. And of course, there were no real consequences. And she said, look, while we're all talking about eating dogs and cats, I want to talk about my mother-in-law who was tragically killed. That's the real impact of this. And the more we're talking about Haitian migrants being allowed into communities like Springfield, Ohio, and the more this is in the news cycle and people are researching like, hey, what's going on with these migrants? This actually weirdly plays into Trump's hands because who has a massive edge on the issue of illegal immigration? A beer battle with a political twist. It's a fascinating story, and it's coming up next on the Dan O'Donnell Show. Hey, Dan O'Donnell here for my great friends at Mander Collision and Glass. Now, with 6 locations to serve you, you hear me talk about how great Mander is, their work ethic, their customer service. Here's customer Hank. Took my Corvette in for a new windshield with camera in the glass. Their tech knew everything and did a great job. Everyone there was friendly and helpful. I loved the modern and very neat waiting area. Thank you, guys. Finally, even the bathroom was very clean. This is a very professional family-run business. When I need any more work done, I'm coming here. Peter, you're the best. He even brought this old man an armchair so I could sit and work on my laptop. The receptionist was very quick to say hello and knew everything about my job. Thank you. No, thank you, Hank, for reminding me and everyone about the Mander difference. Start your repair today at mandercollision.com. That's mandercollision.com.
For more information about contests on News Talk 1130 WISN, go to newstalk1130.com/rules.
Hey, you smell. That's right, you still smell that urine in your house. Urine odor isn't just offensive to the nose, it's a health hazard. The other thing that stinks? Nothing works. Until now. At Steam Dry Carpet Cleaning, we save our customers thousands in carpet replacement, and if it's not all gone, done, you don't pay.
Call 414-479 $99.99. Steam Dry. PhDandClean.com. Steam Dry.
The one thing we know for certain is the United States is going to be one intense place this fall.
The Tucker Carlson Live Tour is coming to Fiserv Forum September 16th.
So we thought, what better time to hit the road and see the country? And we're going to this fall from coast to coast. We're going on a live tour with a bunch of friends of ours who you will recognize. We're going to be live on stage responding to everything that is happening in real time.
Get tickets now at Ticketmaster.com. Presented by Sambrosa.com and brought to you by Swan Bitcoin.
When it comes to your physical health, getting to the bottom of a problem cannot happen fast enough. This is where Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin's Ortho ASAP clinics come to the rescue. If you're experiencing any sort of bone-on-bone, joint, or muscle problem, walk right in and be seen by an orthopedic specialist trained specifically to treat these conditions. Their website is orthowisconsin.com. The Ortho ASAP clinics are located at both the Pewaukee and Brookfield Square locations and are a lower cost, higher quality alternative to the traditional emergency room or urgent care. You'll be sure to be seen by an experienced orthopedic specialist who's surrounded by a staff that is trained to provide you with the best possible care. Also, their Ortho ASAP clinics are housed where they have on-site x-ray, physical therapy, and MRI capabilities to help with your care all right there. You can learn more at orthowisconsin.com. orthowisconsin.com. Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. There is a difference.
Looking to upgrade your bathroom? Check out Bath Fitter. One-day installation, no demolition, no mess, and they're celebrating 40 years in business this year. Call 262-395-4925 to make your appointment with Bath Fitter today.
We've found that the high road is worth the climb, and it's less crowded. At Semperfi, everything we do is done to the best of our ability. There are no shortcuts. It's pretty simple. We do what we say we're going to do because we fully understand that a reputation is never given. It's always earned. It is in our nature to keep our values intact so that when we leave your job, you'll be right there to shake our hand with satisfaction. We've installed massive flat roofs and shingled huge churches, schools, and all kinds of homes from modest to extravagant, all with integrity and pride in our work. And we're going to keep doing it for generations to come. That's what always faithful means to us. This is Brad Youngbluth with Semper Fi Roofing and Exteriors, your local, veteran-owned and operated exterior remodeling company. For your new roof, siding, window and door installation, or masonry work, you can count on Semper Fi to keep you safe, warm, and dry.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semper Fi.
Dan O'Donnell here, cordially inviting you on the adventure of a lifetime with Cruise and Tour, sailing Norway's breathtaking fjords aboard the magnificent Celebrity Eclipse, June 13th through the 23rd. The soaring mountainous landscapes, the crystal blue waters, the jaw-dropping glaciers, and the charm of old world Europe, all on one magical trip. We'll spend 2 days in Amsterdam, taking in the beauty of one of the most famous cities in the world, and then we'll board our ship, a state-of-the-art vessel with world-class amenities and entertainment. We'll cruise the fjords, which are almost indescribably beautiful. The mountain vistas rise above amazing ports of call like Molde, known as the Town of Roses, and Olden, a 17th century village at the basin of cascading waterfalls. For more information and to make your reservation, call 800-383-3131 or head to cruise-tour.com.
At Marine Heating and Air Conditioning, we know weather in Wisconsin keeps you guessing.
Dad, let's turn on the heat. It's freezing. Wait, Dad, we need the AC back on. It's so hot in here.
No matter the season or the day, we've got you covered. Stay comfortable year-round with a new air conditioner or furnace from Marine Heating. We install same day or next day, starting at $39.95 or 0% financing. Keep your family comfortable. Call or visit CatamarineHeating.com today.
BlueMountainExpress.com. We will improve your roof.
Statewide. Remember our old friend Kirk Bangstad, the owner of the Minocqua Brewery? He's back. And now now he's infringing on trademarks. Apparently, he is in a battle with the Ope Brewery. He made a mistake. Ope Brewery, located in West Allis, Wisconsin, over his Ope beer in honor of Tim Walz. I'm not sure if this guy really is this stupid, Bangstad, that he doesn't think trademark and copyright laws apply to him, but he doesn't think that he's actually poo-pooing in a statement that was released and picked up by onmilwaukee.com. He's giggling over the fact that Ope is saying, look, guy, we trademarked Ope. You can't use Ope in beer because it would confuse drinkers that it is in fact an Ope Brewery product. I really do think Kirk Bangstad might be one of the dumbest people in Wisconsin. Yeah, the issue was his brewery, Dave, where he just sort of thought he could do whatever he wanted without ever consulting the village. Yeah, there's just the town of Minocqua, the county. He just thought rules don't apply to him, and now copyright rules apparently don't apply to him either. We'll get into that in greater depth, but right now we welcome to the program, great friend of the show, Wisconsin Congressman Brian Steil. Sir, great to have you on. Welcome back.
Dan, thanks for having me on.
The pleasure is all mine. So I want to talk to you about a number of different issues. I have seen your opponent's ads, and they don't seem to be at all based in truth.
Dan, they're blatantly false. This is a campaign that is being run to try to scare and fearmonger people because the policies are on our side. They previously ran an ad about Social Security. It was shown as false. Why? Because I support strengthening Social Security. Now they're up to their new trick, and Peter Barca, my opponent, is out with a new ad that is blatantly false about my views on IVF. I support IVF the same way President Trump supports IVF. We're conservatives. We support families. IVF is a way that families can be started. And so what we are seeing is the attacks from the left, the blatant lies by career politicians who are petrified to actually talk about the issues. And so we're going up on TV and actually explaining that to people and pushing back. And if your listeners want to help us push back against these blatant lies, they can go to my website, briansteil.com, and help me out to actually go up and take on the radical left and their lies as they try to defeat me, as they try to defeat Donald Trump and our state. And what we can't do is put our heads in the sand, because if you do that, that's how you lose elections. And that's what we saw across the country as the blatant lies were told about the abortion issue 2 years ago. And so they're up with their lies. I'm going to take them on head on and explain to people across the state of Wisconsin that these are lies, blatant lies. We're going to go toe-to-toe and win this race.
You are also taking on what I believe to be corrupt money laundering through Act Blue, the big Democratic fundraising site where Democrats can go and vote, and then the money is essentially funneled to different candidates. Now, this is legal, except in the way that it appears Act Blue is funneling out that money. We covered this extensively last year. It is called smurfing, and it's where big dollar donations are broken up and then put in the name of small dollar donors called Smurfs, yes, like the little blue cartoon characters. And these Smurfs will donate $1, 50 cents, $5, hundreds and hundreds and thousands of times, totaling $15,000, $20,000, $25,000 that they never actually made because it's not their money. It is some big dollar donation that needs to be broken up to get around campaign finance requirements. You are investigating this, and can you give us an update on the status of that investigation?
You're exactly right describing the issue, Dan. And what we have discovered through a robust investigation is a significant loophole that needs to be closed. And as you correctly noted, what we've identified is these online fundraising portals, in particular Act Blue, lack the financial security structures that almost everyone else has in place. What I've done is a couple things. We continue our investigative work to find the bad actors, and we're working with state attorney generals across the country in that regard. 2, I have called on the Federal Election Commission, the FEC, to put forward emergency rulemaking action to close the loophole. And then 3, I've brought forward legislation to do it from a legislative standpoint, knowing that we have the challenges we have in the Senate. Earlier this week, yesterday, we passed my bill through committee, and it was a unanimous vote. The Democrats actually voted with us at the committee level, and now I'm pushing to bring this to the full floor next week. We'll see if we can get that in the schedule and force the Senate to vote. But the question then should be, how does it work and where's the loophole? What we discovered is that there is a huge opportunity for abuse with the use of prepaid debit and credit cards. And so exactly what you're saying is using a straw man to make the donation. If someone stole your credit card, you or your spouse would probably catch on pretty quick that these charges are being made under your name. But if that person uses a prepaid debit or credit card, goes online, fills out the information using your identity, and makes a donation with a prepaid debit or credit card that would be anonymous, that money will get funneled into a campaign, say it's the Harris campaign or anyone else's campaign. In would go the money, and you would be the unknowing victim of this crime. And so what we're doing is saying, close down that loophole, prevent the use of prepaid debit and credit cards to make sure that we're not allowing these straw man donations to occur.
How prevalent do you think this issue is? How many times do you think this is going on, and how many millions of dollars are we talking about?
That's one of the things that we're looking at. We're determining the scale that this loophole is being used for. We know 100% the loophole exists, which is why we think it should be closed immediately. Separate of that, we're looking at trying to understand the scale that this loophole has allowed funds to be trafficked illegally. That's where we're working with a broader investigation, including state attorney generals who've engaged with us to help determine both the scale and to hold people accountable if they're engaged in illegal behavior.
Okay, I get it. And to me, this has always seemed like massive fraud. Like, this seems like it should be investigated at the state level and also at the federal level with the FBI, because not only is this fraud, there's also an element of identity theft in there. There is obvious money laundering. It seems to be the biggest scandal in politics that nobody is talking about. Am I right on that score?
It's a huge challenge, Dan, and what we have done is we have brought in the investigators from the Federal Election Commission. They have said that this is really not their role at the FEC. I disagree, but then we went over to other...
Wait. Hold on. Sir, I'm sorry to... The FEC said it's not their role to investigate?
Until a claim is made. This is how ridiculous the system is out here in Washington, Dan.
The Federal Elections Commission, wait. Just so I'm clear, the Federal Elections Commission believes it's not its role to investigate issues related to federal elections. Am I getting that correct?
It's beyond frustrating where we're at with this, Dan. But until the claims are made, and what happens here is many of these people don't realize they're victims of the identity theft in the first place. So if a donation is made in your name, if it's not your money,
right,
you may never be any the wiser that it's occurred. And so the claim is never filed. And so the challenge here is we are doing the investigative work and then going straight to state attorney generals to help us in this investigation. And I don't think the Biden administration writ large is interested in helping us. And so I think we run into a log jam at the federal government side, which is where we're working with conservative attorney generals from around the country on the investigative standpoint to determine the scale and use of this loophole. And the loophole, we need to continue to work from a legislative standpoint, my role, to close the loophole.
He is Wisconsin Congressman Brian Steil. Sir, I am so glad that you're taking this issue as seriously as you are. Again, where can people find out the truth about your record, donate money, find out more about your campaign?
I'd love to have people's help get my ads back up to tell these are lies and come back with our story. BrianSteil.com is the best website to do it. You'll get all the information there, and appreciate those that were willing to chip in.
Hey, Brian, thanks as always. I'm sure we'll be talking to you a bunch before November 5th. Thank you so much, sir.
Thanks, Dan.
Wisconsin Congressman Brian Steil, that website, BRYANSTEIL.com. The Minocqua Brewery versus the Ope Brewery. That story next.
Conservative thought, not just talk. The Dan O'Donnell Show will be right back.
Hi, it's John Reitz from Great Midwest Bank, and as a community bank, we sincerely appreciate our customer loyalty. Over nearly 90 years, we've done all we can to return the favor. Great Midwest Bank offers flexible solutions that bigger banks and credit unions simply can't, because our entire team is right here in the community. We love helping our neighbors when we're at work and then catching up over the weekend. Visit us at greatmidwestbank.com. Great Midwest Bank, your simply local equal housing lender.
Trees on the Move, offering ideas for outdoor living and beautifying with landscape consultation, design, and installation, including retaining walls, paved patios, tree trimming, and more. Trees on the Move's been offering landscape services for over 47 years and now offers stamped and colored concrete drives, patios, and sidewalks. Beautify your yard this year with Trees on the Move. TreesOnTheMove.com.
From planning to planting, Trees on the Move.
Make American Family Field your space to grow relationships with clients, employees, and prospects with Brewers season memberships for the 2025 season. Your corporate season membership with the Brewers grants exclusive discounts on premium meeting spaces, invitations to networking events, and one-of-a-kind opportunities to grow your business at the ballpark. Learn more about Brewers season memberships for businesses at brewers.com/ticket plans or call 414-902-HITS.
You don't need to move up north to feel like you live up north. Trees on the Move has an evergreen sale on now. Save on 5 to 12-foot Black Hills spruce, Serbian spruce, Norway spruce, white pine, and more. Add to your landscape with 20 to 30-foot maples, elms, oaks, honey locust, arborvitae, junipers, and more. Trees on the Move has to clear 40 acres, and this is your chance to buy big and save big. Save up to 75% at Trees on the Move's evergreen sale, Monday through Friday from 8 to 4, Saturday 9 to 4, or see treesonthemove.com.
I'm Brett Ochtenhagen, owner of Brett Ochtenhagen Seasonal Services. Freedom is a wonderful yet fragile ideal. Freedom empowers us to be great and do great things, individually and as a nation. As Americans, we are the stewards of freedom, and we are responsible for its preservation. This starts with voting. Voting is a privilege, and we are obligated to research and select leaders who stand for the promise of the American dream. Our choice for president cannot be driven solely by opposition to one candidate. And while not voting or choosing a third party is our right, we must ask, are these choices the best way to protect our freedoms? Our vote is precious. Let us remember that freedom is a privilege paid for by the lives of countless men and women who made the ultimate sacrifice. By making informed, selfless choices on Election Day, we honor their legacy and the legacy of freedom. From all the landscape experts at Brett Ochtenhagen Seasonal Services, may God bless you and may God bless America.
If the first thing on your to-do list is to start a to-do list, if the snooze button has fallen off your alarm clock, or if your favorite day is tomorrow, you're a procrastinator. And your friends at Mr. Holland's Home Services remind you that cold weather is fast approaching. Is your furnace ready for frigid days and frosty nights? Yes, we know you're not thinking about winter when it's still on the warm side. But let's face it, planning ahead isn't one of your superpowers. So just take a quick minute to call Mr. Holland's and secure a brand new, high-efficiency heating and cooling system today. You may even qualify for payments as low as $69 a month with approved credit. You'll be set for winter, and you'll finally have time to read that book on how to stop procrastinating that you bought in 2016. 866-992-1717 or visit MrHollandsHomeservices.com. Tired of being put off by the cold? We can help.
Well, summer's here and the weather is beautiful. Everyone has a favorite outdoor activity: golf, bike riding, bird watching, long walks. Ask 100 people, you'll get 100 answers. But if everyday aches and pains are keeping you on the sidelines, I have one answer: Relief Factor. Relief Factor is a 100% drug-free daily supplement that helps your body fight pain naturally. Developed by doctors, Relief Factor uses a unique formula of natural ingredients. It doesn't just mask pain, it helps reduce or even eliminate it. Wherever you're hurting, back, neck, joints, or muscles, in 3 weeks or less, you'll start to feel the difference all day, every day. So whatever you like to do, swimming, pickleball, hanging out in the garden, Relief Factor can help you feel good again and let you enjoy all your favorite outdoor activities all summer long. Go to ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4-RELIEF and save on your first order. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF. Fight pain naturally with Relief Factor.
Portions of the following program were pre-recorded.
Dan O'Donnell cordially inviting you on our 2025 adventure to Amsterdam and the beautiful fjords of Norway. June 13th through the 23rd. We debuted this trip on Tuesday. Seats are filling up very, very quickly. So we do encourage you to head to cruise-tour.com. Scroll down. My trip is right there. And it is incredible. The soaring mountain peaks, the snow-capped glaciers, the quaint villages down below. It's going to be incredible. We begin with a couple of days in Amsterdam, one of the most beautiful and famous cities in the entire world. We'll take a lunch cruise on the canals. We'll explore the entire city, and then we board the Celebrity Eclipse to cruise like you've never cruised before. This is not open ocean cruising. This is cruising in between some of the most beautiful landscapes on planet Earth. And if you think I'm exaggerating, just check out some of the pictures. We'll make incredible ports of call like Molde, known as the Town of Roses, Olden, where we'll cruise along glacier waters and then walk on the Kendal Glacier itself, and then step onto the Briskdal Glacier and explore Justadal Glacier National Park. All of that is included. After that, it's Stavanger, the edge of Norway with its blockbuster cliffs and pristine beaches. Kristiansand, known as Norway's Hollywood, it's a popular destination for Norwegians and dates all the way back to the 400s. There's old world European history and charm in these villages and in the big city of Amsterdam, and there's also absolutely glorious scenery. And the best part, Cruise and Tour takes care of everything. All you do is sign up, everything from airfare to hotels to meals to tips to drinks, all included with incredible guides and incredible people. That's one of the best parts. In fact, I just got together last night with my in-laws, my mom, her best friend Louise, her boyfriend Larry, and a group of about 20 people who were on the Croatian cruise with us. We just had an incredible time. We had a great time last night. That's, I think, the best part about these trips is you meet people who really do become friends. I consider these people my friends. They're fantastic. One couple, you might remember me talking about them dropping off Dayquil when I was battling a head cold about a month ago. That's just what makes this extra special. We're going with a group of like-minded people who really do bond over the course of this incredible 11-day, 10-night excursion. Just call 800-383-3131 or head to cruise-tour.com. Again, 800-383-3131 or cruise-tour.com. Kirk Bangstad sending out a press release after we released Ope, a lager with Big Dad energy a few weeks ago. We got a call from an attorney who represented Ope Brewing in West Allis, Wisconsin. They said we stole their trademark. We giggled a bit, thinking, how is it possible to trademark a word that most Midwesterners use as a way of saying, excuse me? Well, you see, when we use it to say, excuse me, we're not selling a product using the word that is trademarked for use as a beer brand, you absolute buffoon. Ope says, look, we trademarked this because we want protection. We have a unique identity as Ope beer. If Minocqua Brewing has an Ope beer, people could be confused thinking the Ope Lager, Big Dad Energy beer, or whatever it's called, is actually an Ope Brewery product. This is a slam dunk, easy win for Ope Brewing. You can't, if I all of a sudden, what would be a good example of this? Kleenex is used ubiquitously. It's used synonymously with, tissue paper. People say Kleenex all the time. If I came up with Dan O'Donnell brand tissue paper and I called it Kleenex, clearly that would be trade. If I say, hey, pass me a Kleenex when it's actually a generic brand, that's different. Out of time, Friday edition of the Dan O'Donnell Show. Can't wait. 9:06 tomorrow.